Welcome to Real Girl Talk. I am your host, Sherry Ricard. I empower women to stand in their purpose, to succeed despite the odds stacked against them, and to live their life knowing they're enough and worthy. Join me each week for powerful messages and interviews that will inspire you to create the life that you want. Now let's go. Hello there, my friends. It's Sherry Ricard, and I am so glad to have you back listening to the podcast. And thank you so much for being here. Before I introduce my guest, I'm going to make a little announcement. My Purpose to Profits School is going to launch February 21st. So you might be saying, what the heck is a Purpose to Profits School? Well, I am going to open it up with an online course that's going to rock your world if you've ever wanted to write a book. And if you're sitting there right now going, I don't know what to do, I don't have the time, I don't have the techie smarts to do it, I don't have any clue where to start. Well, I'm telling you, I did not either. I had no clue. I simply used my pen and my journal to write down all my thoughts and pains for 7 years, and it later turned into a book. And when I tell you for 2 years, I researched how to format the book, how to come up with my titles, my subtitles, my book covers, and I am going to really condense that into an online course. When I tell you I'm taking you step by step from book beginning to launch and show you how to market your book very successfully. That is what is in this course. And I'm telling you, it opens February 21st and it closes March 8th. So I will be talking more about that on the podcast show. Right now, you can go to my website, sherryricard.com, and I'm going to have some information on the Purpose to Profits School later on this week. So we're going to move into my guest today because she is a rock star. I love Amy. So Amy Robbins is the CEO of Alexo Athletica. She is a GUNTV host and podcast host. She's a model, a producer, and a lifestyle blogger. She was on my Real Girl Talk Facebook Lives, and now I have her on my podcast show because she has a lot of cool stuff that's coming down the pipe. I don't know what she can share with me. I probably should have asked her that, but I know she has some things coming that maybe she can give us some hints without giving us all the detail. But Amy, I want to welcome you to the show. Thank you so much for finding time to jump on the show with me today. How are you doing, girl?
I am doing fantastic, Sherry. Thank you for having me. It's always so great that we get some FaceTime. You know, I get to text you pretty much weekly, but actually getting to see your beautiful face and talk with you and finally come on your show. I'm so proud of you for getting this thing launched. And going, you have had some incredible guests on, and so I'm just very honored to be here and be a part of that whole roundup. So,
well, I'm honored to have you because I'm going to tell you one thing that I wanted you to share with my listeners is you and I have had this conversation before about being a business entrepreneur and how, you know, girls these days, even women, they want to launch their own businesses and they think that it's just glamorous and it's all these lights, cameras, and action. And yes, we do have some of that. We're invited to, you know, stages to speak, and we have our own shows, and we're invited to radio shows and all that fun stuff. But what they don't see is all of that hard work behind the scenes. So I know with you launching Alexo Athletica, it had some challenges, but you have really, really grown your company. So tell any of my listeners that want to start their own business, give us some tips. Like, where would you recommend that we start from the very beginning?
Well, I will tell you right out of the gate, go ahead and prepare yourself to not sleep, not take a vacation, and not get paid for a good while. And you better be okay with that and ready to go. You know, there have been very, very few overnight success stories when it comes to entrepreneurial businesses and startups. Most of the time, startups cost a lot more money than you were expecting. You're going to face a whole lot of challenges that even with the best business plan put in place, you aren't going to expect. And you've got to be able to very quickly recognize what those challenges are and go a different route go a different way very quickly. You got to start learning how to make very quick decisions. But I think what a lot of people don't understand, because they've got all of these, and I follow them all on Instagram, these girl boss, empowerment entrepreneur quotes and pages. And of course they do glamorize the entrepreneurial life, because let's be honest, it is great to not have to work for somebody. It's terrifying as hell because you don't know where your paycheck's coming from sometimes, but there is a glamorous aspect to it, but that is definitely not in the beginning stages of a lot of these companies. And so if you don't get yourself in the right mindset that this is going to be hard, you're going to have days of doubt. You're going to have days of that you are fearful that you didn't make the right decisions. But those who have the success stories in the end are the ones who are able to have that, see that, and to overcome it anyways, and to stick it out. And the longer you are willing to stick it out, the more chance you have to succeed in the end. Right. And so it's, I tell people all the time, I'm like, count the cost, consider the cost, make a plan as best you can so that when the hard times come, you can fall back on that plan that you've put into place and say, okay, I'm working my plan. I am going to get here because I have a plan put in place, and you can always fall back on that plan. And that's what's helped us get through. I didn't have a background in apparel at all when I started this, other than modeling clothes. I knew how to put clothes on. I knew how to take pictures. I knew how to work for other designers, but I didn't go to design school. I had zero experience in the manufacturing side of things. I didn't even know what was involved in that. I really thought that I could just take my idea right on down to the seamstress, the local tailor, and have her, sew in some special pockets that would hold up, if I needed to put my firearm in my pants. And little did I know that I had so much to learn along the way. And, this has been, I think people see the success that we're having and the momentum that we're having right now, and they think, oh, she's one of those overnight success stories. No, I was working 3 years on Alexo before we even took it to market.
Wow.
Researching the market, researching the trends, trying to figure out, you try to think of starting a company where you have no idea who's going to buy your clothes. First off, you don't even know who your target audience is. But you have to put an order almost a year before it hits the market and just hope that you pick the right sizes.
Yeah. That's true.
And hope you pick the right color, which is why we started with black.
Yeah, everybody likes black.
I knew I could sell black leggings. If anything, I knew one thing, and I knew it well. I know what women want, and I knew how women like to feel when they put their clothes on. And I know that all women wanted to be lifted up, sucked in, and smoothed out if you're going to be wearing leggings all day long. And so I set out on this journey to make the best pair of leggings that I possibly could from a style standpoint, but also from a functionality standpoint that would give women the ability to be hands-free and carry everything that they needed on their body, including a self-defense tool to keep themselves safe whenever they were wearing their activewear.
Right. And it's awesome too. I love your line. You've added so much more. I mean, you started with the pants, and when we met a few years ago, I can't believe it's been years. I can say that we met a few years ago. It was just an idea. You didn't even have a logo, and it's
no.
And now you have celebrities wearing your pants and putting them on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, Amy is rocking this. This is so awesome. And I know you've got a long way to go, and you know that, so you have that mindset, that positive mindset that you're like, I know what it takes. I know how far, and if you look back, how far you've come from then to now. How far are you going to go from now, a year from now?
Well, it's so crazy because we know when I started this, and I did have a bunch of friends in the fashion industry that I was seeking help, and I was seeking out mentors along in this process. And every one of them, of course, they're out in California. I started this line for people that don't know because I was training for a marathon, and I was having to run really early in the morning or really late at night by myself. And it was the first time that my safety really started to be at the forefront of my mind because I was running out in a rural area. And I just so happened to want to get my license to carry. And when I got my license to carry, I was like, wait a second, now I actually want to carry when I'm running, but there was nothing on the market that was cute or functional enough for me. And so when I set out to do this, I was taking this idea with me to all my buddies in the fashion industry out in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Every single one of them just jaw dropped and they started dying laughing. And they're like, wait, you want to put a gun in your pants? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, but it's not just guns. Like, I choose a firearm, but I said women need to take care of themselves. And I would tell them the statistics that 47 million women carry some form of self-defense tool on their body at all times. So that's a mace, that's taser, maybe it's a blade, maybe it's a tactical pen, maybe it's a pepper blaster. They carry these tools with them and no one is catering to them. There's nobody in the market that is specifically gearing their products to women being able to defend and protect themselves, which that's one of the most vulnerable stages that a woman can be in when she's by herself at certain times of the day working out. You know, most of the time they got their headphones in, they're not being situationally aware. And so it's a prime time to be a target. And I just didn't want to see women be victims anymore. I wanted them to be able to take responsibility for their personal safety and realize that there is not always going to be somebody there to save you. Be your own hero. And I would tell them these statistics. I would tell them that 50% of women, according to Runner's World magazine, have been harassed in some form when they've been working out or exercising. And I'm like, that statistic is very alarming because it can start with a cat call, but then it can escalate from there to something much more serious. And so I was very passionate. I'm very passionate about this idea of women staying safe. So I don't know if it was my passion that ended up selling people on this idea because most of them laughed at me when I told them that I wanted to do this. And they were like, that is never going to work. No one is going to buy that. And I'm like, I don't think that is true. I was like, I happen to know my audience very well on social media. I know what they're looking for. I know that concealed carry alone is up 500% in the women market. We're the fastest growing demographic. And you want to tell me there's not white space in the market? Well, dang it. When I hear people laugh or I hear people tell me no, it only makes me work harder.
Right. And you know what? It's so funny that you say that because when I told my son, of course, you know, he's 18 years old and he's always got something to say to me because I'm his mama. But when I told him that I was going to take Real Girl Talk Facebook Live to a podcast show, he said, "You're going to do what?" He's like, "Mom, what's the deal? Like, why do you want to do that?" And I said, "Because Mom has something to say." Yeah. You know? I mean, I do. I have a lot of passion in helping women get through adversity, get through struggles, divorce, death, job loss, bankruptcy. I don't care what your struggles are. I have a passion to help you. I know where I've come.
Yep.
You know, I know in 2007 when I buried my son, I wanted to bury myself. So I know what it's like to not have anybody to empower you and show you those steps out of adversity. And I wanted to be there. And I said, podcast radio is the next best thing for me so this is what, maybe on 18th or 19th episode. And he was looking at my stats and he said, "Mom, does that say 10,000? That says 10,000, son. I told you somebody wanted to hear me." And he's like, "Mom, your show is awesome." I said, "Yeah, well, you were laughing at me 3 months ago."
I know. Isn't it great? It's a great feeling, you know, and I never want to rub it in anybody's face, but it is a great feeling, you know, to be able to go back to the people that were the naysayers, that were the haters, that are the ones to say this was never going to happen. And it just goes to show you that when you have the passion and you have the vision, I'm really big about talking to people about having a vision. Have a vision that is so grand and so big that it scares you sometimes.
Right.
Because if you don't have that big vision, you're not even going to go for a small piece of it.
Exactly.
And so I do believe that visionaries are the ones who are changing the world. And they're the ones who can see things that nobody else can see. They can see how far it can go. They can see how big the potential is. And then you got to take that next step of not just being a dreamer, but being a doer.
Right.
And go from taking it, being the vision, getting over all those fears that we all have that can be very paralyzing in the very first initial stages of starting any kind of company, especially when you're pioneering new uncharted territory.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, I remember the day looking at my husband, and I couldn't do this without my husband because he is 100% in on Alexo. If you can get your spouse to catch your vision, that is most of the battle, you know? And so getting Drew to catch the vision with me and then to be all in because he was like, "You're on to something here. Let's do this. Let's go tackle this together." I felt very unstoppable. And, you know, we were able to get on the same page early on saying, okay, we didn't have a lot of money to start this. We're not independently wealthy. Neither one of us grew up with a lot of money, but I always knew since I was 5 years old that I wanted to have a company, and I wanted to have a successful company, because it's very important to me to be able to give back and to be able to mentor people. And I have this desire to make money so I can give and I can give back.
Right.
And I do feel like God is blessing that and will continue to bless that when that's your goal. There's nothing wrong with striving to be successful. There's nothing wrong with striving to make money. It's definitely not our purpose in this, but we just so happen to be able to make money because our purpose is helping women.
Right.
Our purpose is to never hear another woman have to say me too again.
Right, which is why I named my school Purpose to Profits, because
exactly. I love that.
All of my online courses, and like the first one that I said, the writer's roadmap, is about people writing a book, and it's for women like you. It's for your blogger that wants to be an expert, wants to be looked at as an influencer.
Right.
So set yourself apart as a blogger and have your own book. That teacher that wants to be looked at as an expert in education, have your own book. Anything, and I tell every speaker that I've ever met, if you do not have a book in the back of the room when you're speaking, you're missing it. Because you are not an expert on that stage until you have a book in the back of the room. And
I never thought about that before until you texted me when we were talking about your program, which you better not sell out those programs before I can buy one, because I'm a ways away from writing my book, but of course it's been on my mind. And I think for a lot of writers, like I fall into this a lot, is that paralysis, that fear of paralysis when it comes to writing. I can get on camera, I can talk in front of a group, I can have a YouTube channel, I can have a podcast, I can talk all day, but when I have to actually transfer that to paper, and I used to write all of the time, I think it's a matter of really figuring out what my voice is, what do I want to say, what the purpose is. I've been writing, like you said, writing in my journal along this entire journey, because I'm like, gosh, had I just had somebody mentoring me through this process of trying to break into the apparel industry.
Exactly.
I could have avoided a lot of pitfalls, a lot of expensive, costly mistakes, which I wouldn't change it for the world, because I'm glad I've learned them. But I want to be able to give back, and I want to be able to help other women that want to do this, that have a dream and a vision that everyone else tells them is crazy. And I'm here to say, no, it's not crazy. Like, do it. If you believe in it.
Don't you find that when you're forced to take ownership of what you're doing, you learn so much more? Because when my first book came out, Wake Up Call, Mother's Grief Journey, it was a publisher that published that book. Well, I learned really quick that publishers do not market your book, nor do they have as much value and appreciation for your book as you do.
Sure.
So I had to take that book back, change the cover, had no clue, no graphic design experience. I had to figure out how to format it. It took me years to figure this out.
Yeah.
And get that book back out there. And I even changed the cover 2 more times after that, because I was learning and growing as I was getting through it, understanding what covers sell, what covers don't. And that's why I wanted to do this course, because I thought there is no reason why somebody should have to go through the torment of 2 years. I'm going to teach them how to write. I'm going to teach them how to
brilliant
topic. I'm going to teach them how to do their titles, their subtitles. I can show you for free how to do all of this.
That's amazing. And you just said something too that just really resonated with me, that when you said the publishers aren't going to care about your book, nobody is going to care about your idea.
No.
More than you.
Exactly.
Maybe not even as much as you. You can have people that are excited about what you're doing. They can catch on to your vision, but nobody is going to be as excited and as passionate about your idea than you.
Right.
And so you have to take a hold of that, and you have got to let that be the driving force behind you, so that when you hear the people, don't rely on other people to get as excited about what you're doing. You got to put in the work.
Right.
Keep putting in the work. Keep putting in the hustle. You're going to be up earlier than everybody. You might not even go to bed. You have to be so passionate about your idea, because that passion will eventually be contagious and start to catch on to other people, but nobody's going to work hard for your idea.
And too, I want to add that you have to make sure that you surround yourself with some like-minded women. When you're in that mode of trying to earn money in a business or in an online space, then you have to connect yourself with other women that are like-minded, because I have found some women will quit because their friends don't support them. And look, shout out to all of the women that support their friends when they start a business.
Yep.
You know, I know when Amy started, her business, her friends, myself, would just take snapshots. I ordered a pair of $100 pants from her. I didn't want her, she's not going to give me these pants. This is a business. We support each other. That's what we do. And we take pictures and we put them on social media and we tag each other. And, if you don't have that surrounding, then you're in the wrong group, girlfriend.
You better be a supportive friend too.
Exactly.
Like if you don't wake up one day with this great idea and expect everyone's just going to jump on board and support you, if you haven't been building that relationship and supporting your friends in the meantime.
100%.
And I talk to women about this all the time, because there's women out there that don't want to support other women, that are in constant competition with other women. And I have been very fortunate. I've learned to get those people out of my life. They're not allowed into my energetic space, like, at all. Right. And I have now surrounded myself with women that I want to support and that want to support me back. And, if I didn't also put that time in with them and let them know how much I love and support whatever it is that they're doing as well, I could never have expected that in return from people. And I'm just so we could not have launched. We relied solely on my friends and on social media during this entire time. People don't realize this. I spent a year growing the Alexo social media page, a year. It took me, that is commenting on other people's pages, starting to build a foundation of, I call it like my little army of women. I was building this Team Alexo. It's why the hashtag Team Alexo is so important to me, because it really is how we were able to do everything. And we spent a year building so that women felt like they were a part of a team, a part of a mission. And people don't understand that. I didn't even have any product. I was like just trying whatever I could to build, like, okay, it's coming. Here's the idea. That was one of the things. I was supposed to have product in August of 2017. And no, it didn't arrive until the end of November. So finally, come October 31st, 2017, I looked at my husband and I'm like, we have now had this Instagram page for a year. We have to do something. We can it at this point. No more coming soon. Like, we need to put these things on pre-order and just take a leap of faith and say, God, I just really hope that this first final product, gets here. It looks good. People want it. We were almost sold out of our first order within the first 2 months of pre-orders.
That's amazing.
And by the time we got it in, it was Christmas time of 2017. I was like, we're going to have to make another order. Like, oh my gosh, like what? And we had 2 styles of leggings, like a full length and a cropped, and we had 3 jackets, and that was all. Like, take your pick. This is all you're getting of Alexo. Yeah. And then, the next go round, and it's not a fast process. It took us, we make our own fabrics for our pants. So it's 45 days for, just to make the fabric. And then it can be up to another 90 days to get your product, if you even get your product on time. So we had sold out by December, was looking to get the next one around April of 2018. Oh, because I had Tommy Laren do a post. Well, I didn't even ask her. She just did this post.
That was so cool when I saw that.
That was so cool, because my phone started blowing up one night. I was at Bible study and I'm like checking it while they're like doing the Bible study. And I'm like, I shouldn't be on my phone right now, but like, what the heck is happening right now? And because I had my notifications on Instagram, and it was like new follower. Yes, we upped 6,000 followers in like an hour. All of our stuff was already sold out. So we were now back ordering all of these people that wanted anything. So put that in, sold out again of our next order. Our next order, though, Sherry, that I got in was completely see-through. We had the Lululemon problem. So we waited 6 months to get our pants and get a batch of see-through pants.
Oh,
and I'm like, that's it. No, that's it. Like nobody is going to wait. Cause think about it. Then they have to go back and remake the fabric and then get them back to us again.
Oh,
and
no.
I was just like, you talk about setback after setback. When you jump into the apparel industry, like that's all your life is going to be.
But look how far that you've come though. And you've learned so much. And I think the whole thing there is, like you said, you know what? We've got to put something out there. You've been building it up. And I think when you do announce a launch, like I know that my online course launch is going to be February 21st. I have a Facebook Live.
Yep.
On my Empowerment is Beauty page, announcing it and giving people 10 steps for free on how to do a book. And the only thing completed is the 10 steps.
But you got to do it.
I got to do it. I have to do it because I've promised it. It's a launch and I know me. And if I set deadlines and dates, then I'll make it happen because I have a vision for it, just like you do. And I get it. So can you tell us anything that you have coming down the pike in 2019?
I can definitely tell you guys because we have, I mean, we haven't like made the official announcement yet. That's going to be getting released like in the next couple of weeks, but we are doing, so one of our goals and initiatives for our company in the life of our company was going to be to lock down and secure a celebrity endorsement. And a lot of that came from, again, just my background in the fashion industry. I saw what people in the real fashion world do is they join up. You know, the Kardashians did Good America. You've got Justin Timberlake that did a line called William Rast. Brooke Burke did an athletic line called Calum. So I'm like, why in the firearm industry do we not do that? You know, like, did they not take this same kind of model? And so we were able to lock down and secure what really was in our 3rd year plan. We were able to lock down a celebrity endorsement, and we are doing a sub line of Alexo. It's still under the Alexo Athletica umbrella, but it is called Freedom, and it is by Tommy Lahren, and it is going to be launching August 1st, 2019.
I love it.
So we are super excited because what this partnership allows us to do is hit a much younger demographic to really start. Her line will not actually have holsters to hold firearms, but it will still have functional pockets within them to, again, start getting the younger generation in the mindset of situational awareness, putting the phone in your pocket when you've got an easy place to put it so your head is not down looking at your text while you're walking to the parking lot.
And your hands free. So
your hands free, yes. So, you know, there are other functional pockets that we do want to encourage the younger girls when they do get to the age that they can carry a mace, or if there is a taser or something that they are comfortable with, especially college girls walking on college campuses at nighttime by yourself. We want to encourage her audience, which is a younger demographic, to start carrying something and be mindful. And then if they do ever get to that point where maybe they do feel like it is right for them to get a license to carry, they can graduate to the Alexo line and they can actually have the functionality there with Alexo. So we do differentiate the 2 lines, but we're just excited. Hers, we got to play around with really fun prints. She was involved in the entire process, picking out the fabrics, picking out the prints, telling us what she liked, you know, so from the colors and the patterns and the prints, it's something that we haven't done yet with Alexo. So I'm very excited to open up a whole new world and get to reach a whole new audience and empower just a whole new generation of women that we have not been able to reach yet. So we're very excited about that. I'm excited too, because I really think that is important that you reach the younger generation. You know, I know just in college, a lot of times when I was in college, I'm aging myself a little bit, you know, I didn't walk around with a cell phone in my hand. And so even though I was, you know, hands free, I was still not really aware or alert of everything that was going around me all the time because I wasn't taught to do that. Right. You know, when I was in college, 1983 and 4, whatever it was, you know, I mean, I don't know. Were you born yet, Amy? I don't know. But I was that year. I was born. Yes.
You were born that year. But, you know, when I was walking around on college campus, we were just too busy, like trying to spot out, you know, the football players or whatever. And we weren't really paying attention. And I had a very scary situation one night when I ended up coming home by myself because my girlfriends didn't want to leave. And I was fortunate enough to actually get away from this person. He never got his hands on me. He chased me, but I got away from him. And I just think, I did have mace, but my mace was in my purse. I always carried mace. I wouldn't have had enough time to get it out of my purse, but I would have enough time to get it out of my pocket.
Yep.
Luckily, when I was running up the sidewalk to get to the dorm, the security guard was standing there, and it scared the guy off, and he took off running for the parking lot, and we never caught him. But I truly was being chased, and it could have been a horrible situation. And I think about that with girls today. If you're not going to carry a firearm, you're not going to get trained in that. To each his own. A lot of people don't want to do it. We've got a lot of back and forth, and I don't even get involved in all those politics, but you still have to protect yourself. Even if you've got a pair of keys. My daddy taught me to take my keys and hold them between my fingers when I was walking. I mean, you have to be aware of your surroundings, and your pants provide those pockets to where these girls can wear their shoulder purses, be hands-free. They don't have to go for the purse. They can just literally go into that pocket. And protect themselves.
It's a shame that women's self-defense has become politicized, because to me, I'm like, it shouldn't be politicized. It's the Second Amendment is for all of us and is there to protect all of us. Right. And it is there to say that we have a right to choose how we want to defend and protect ourselves. And what I do think, I don't say that we were lucky in this. It just was it really was the perfect timing when we launched, because it was right when the Me Too movement launched. And what I think the Me Too movement, something good that's come from the Me Too movement, it is finally bringing to the forefront of people's minds that this stuff is happening to women.
Right.
We all knew that women are getting assaulted. We all know that women were getting murdered. You hear it, you watch Dateline, we see maybe if you're lucky, your local news might report on something. But college campuses, sexual assault alone and assaults on college campuses is up 83%.
That's insane.
And you don't hear about it. Colleges intentionally keep that information because parents wouldn't send their kids to college.
Exactly.
So we're not hearing about it, but the Me Too movement brought it to everybody's mind, and it brought it to the forefront. And then now we get to have the conversation. Okay, we know this is happening. We know that there are bad people in the world. And you got a choice to make at this point. Like we have the right in this country, thank God, to be able to defend ourselves. So what are we going to do about that?
Right.
And are we going to take responsibility, and are we going to arm ourselves with something, or just start to take your situational awareness a little bit more serious?
Right.
And so that's why I am glad that we're all having these conversations, because no, it wasn't anything I even thought about in college. I took like a self-defense course, and I think the best that they told me was walk with your shoulders high and yell hi to anybody that's in the parking lot, even if they're across the parking lot.
Yeah, if you're lucky, if anyone's in the parking lot.
Exactly.
I remember taking my self-awareness or self-defense class, rather, when I was working night shift at the hospital, because they required it. Mm-hmm. They made us take it. So I learned how to get out of a chokehold and some other move. But I also remember, like, when I married my husband 20 years ago, that man is 6'5", 290, played in the NFL. He could put his arms around my neck, and I don't care what kind of defensive moves.
Nope.
The only thing stopping him is a bullet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're exactly right. And you know what? I think self-defense classes are good for. They help you project confidence. Projecting confidence gives you the upper hand and a little bit more of an edge, so that you don't become like the number one target.
Exactly.
And a victim. People that are looking to assault women are always looking for the easiest targets. Now, are there some that will still move beyond that and go for a confident person? Sure. But you definitely lessen your opportunity to be a victim when you project that confidence. So I think self-defense classes are great. I think there's a use for them for sure, because they help build. It's layers. You got to build upon confidence in young girls. And so just adding that next element of actually carrying some form of a tool is like another layer. And I always encourage people, whatever tool you decide to choose, whatever you choose, you need to get training with it. And you need to make sure that you're comfortable with that particular tool. You know how if it's mace, you know which direction the sprayer is, so that when you take it out and spray it, you need to think your heart's going to be racing, your mind is going to be jumping around, and you want to make sure you know which direction to spray it in. You need to make sure you know how to pull the trigger on a taser, and how that taser how it actually works. And you need to know, does it work for 15 seconds? Does it work for 30 seconds? How much time do you have to get away from the situation once you do deploy those prongs if you decide to use a taser? So there's things like that you really need to be aware of when you choose to carry a tool on your body, because if you're not 100% confident with it, you're probably not going to use it. And there's a chance it could get taken and used on you if you are not confident in using that tool.
Yes, I agree. And you know what we're going to do, Amy, is we're going to, when this show airs, we are going to hashtag some deans of some major college campuses and some presidents of some sororities. And really, this is a really great podcast for them to have you come and
I would love to.
And be able to give some protection to these girls and teach them, because, that's the thing when you were talking about, I surrounded myself with mentors in business, and I know I surrounded myself with mentors just to be able to get on Facebook Live. I mean, if I had never taken Tiffany Hendra's workshop, I probably would have never gotten in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Coaches and mentors, and you can be a mentor for these girls. And I love it. I think you're doing a good thing. I'm excited about your new line coming out, and I wish you a ton of success. And you definitely have helped the fashionistas. You really have, because with your pants, all of those gun owners can come out of the closet.
Right.
Before, and we can hold the Second Amendment proud.
That is right.
I appreciate you, and tell everybody where we can find Alexo Athletica and you.
Well, come find us. We're really active on Instagram. That's probably our most active social media platform. My personal page is at the Amy Robbins, and Alexo is at Alexo Athletica. And then, of course, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Alexo Athletica as well. But we do a lot of interacting with experts in several different fields on Instagram. We're about to start a new live series on Wednesday with one of my friends who is a former New York Police Department officer. She's about 5'1", 90 pounds, and she's a badass. And and she also has a fire instructing academy where she focuses on training women. And so she's going to come on and answer all of your questions that you may have. Whether you're a novice, you're a beginner, you've never even held a firearm before, or any other protection tool, you can just come ask your questions. We just want to have an open forum for young women, older women, anyone, women of all ages, and even men. We encourage the men to come on too and ask their questions. So we bring on a series of experts on this show. We've got a podcast called Not Your Average Gun Girls podcast. It's a really fun lifestyle podcast that we talk lipstick and shoes and our favorite handguns. And,
all of you listening to a Real Girl Talk, you need to go over and catch Amy's podcast for sure.
We have a lot of fun on that show, but we're obviously we live in the day and age where our whole lives are on social media at this point, and you can pretty much see what we're up to on any of those platforms.
And, we've talked about that before. So all you listeners out there, if you're following someone that is not positive, that does not add value to your life, stop following them on Instagram and Facebook. It's a waste of time. Go follow Alexo Athletica, follow the Amy Robbins. My handle is Empowerment is Beauty for Facebook as well as Instagram. Follow somebody that's going to give you education and insight, knowledge, value into your life, empower you. And thank you again, Amy. I appreciate it so much. I know you have to run from one thing to the next. So I do appreciate you. And remember, guys, keep your encouragement tank full, your faith in God, and step out of your comfort zone and try something that you've never tried before. Until next week, have a blessed week.